Hello, hello, Wild Wisdom Warriors. Hello, YouTube. Hello, my dear shamans from around the world. Welcome to my journal. This is Lily Kolosova, and today is 4/10/20. So here we go. I want to talk about end times, or as many of you know, I talked about the timeline that is ending and what's happening to it. So I kind of been giving updates on what's going on with that. So I want to talk about this sort of what it is more in familiar terms, and now with shamans kind of know what is happening, and we're going, as humanity is going through this transition. We need to sort of I feel like we need to talk this through and kind of there's a lot of, let's just say there is a lot of attempt to put a fear on this end times, and I wanted to kind of gain clarity for myself to see what I see is happening on the collective level, how this end times are manifesting right now, and how this transhuman agenda is which is Babylon is fallen. And that's what this is all about. And we had so many prophecies, and again, here we go, biblical. Babylon fallen. It has to fall. And so this is what it is. This timeline has to die. So transhuman timeline, no more. That's basically what it is. So hello, my dear shamans, Danielle, Inda, Ramus, hello, more John, Sandra, Angela, Amy, One Love, Matt, Diane, hi, darling, Jeff, Dean, hello, Santo, hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, you guys. So here's to you, my dear shamans. Vino Friday. Ta-da! Aloha, Teresa. Aloha. Vino Friday. Let's talk about end times. Judgment Day. Hey, Ed. Good to see you here, everyone. So, a little bit of red wine today. So anyway, you guys, I kind of wanted to see what I feel on the collective level. And even though there is a lot of things, hello, sunshine. And even though there's a lot of things that are coming to the surface on a collective level, and we see a lot of that sort of, let's just say, a lot of things that were hidden are becoming visible for those who have the eyes to see. And this is why I said what you need as a shaman in this reality, and this has always been my sort of conversations. Hi, Danielle. It has always been my conversations about how to sort of have this how to take this path to yourself, through yourself, so then you can attain this sort of gnosis yourself, and then go through this collective transmutation as a warrior, knowing what you're doing, basically. So, and the only way to do this is through knowing the self. And this is why it's so important, like I talked about last time, about possession. And when it's possessions available is only your or sort of your being is available for any sort of possession or any vampiric energy if you are not standing in yourself and guarding your own reality. So hi, Marilee. All right, so basically, so this is what I want to talk about, because there's a lot of things that are coming up, sort of they're negative. So I want to, and since I talked last time kind of about all that stuff, and I had to talk about and put some people on karma pedestal, as I like to say, right? So, but what I wanted to kind of focus on today, on something that I felt like what I said last time in my last journal, is you guys is all of that work that you do and all of that stuff that you do in silence, right? All of that, when you are generating, like I like to say, when you're generating gnosis, when you're on your individual level perceiving the collective, this is what happens. This is what I then this is what I see. It's kind of like a watching, like, and this is why I call it fireworks. I don't know what else to call it, because the beautiful new energy, it's like seeing the butterfly, envisioning in a butterfly but yet you looking just at the cocoon. It's just kind of how I see the sparkles of the future positive things that are happening. Because like you guys see, and I referred to this graph of mine, right, where the transhuman agenda and transhuman timeline ends, and this is the end time. This is the timeline that's dying right now, and this is the all the death cults and everything that's built on death, right? And so all of that has to die, and this is what's going down, and this is why it's scary for a lot of people, right? But yet in my graph I talked about the other timeline, which is the organic original timeline that is just starting, because the people then, the ones that aren't ready, or like I say, spiritually mature enough to apply their own power that they regain to, like I said last time, to liberate humanity. Because once you realize the oneness or the eternity of your own self, then you'll have this realization or a spark or something that you will know that you have this ability now to contribute to the totality of human consciousness. For what purpose? To liberate the collective human consciousness from the parasitic and predatory consciousness that had invaded humanity. And so the reason we go through this personally and individually, and this is why it is crucial to go through this process individually. Because without going through it, like I like to say, you will never, humanity can never reach freedom from the point of, from the victim field. Because that victim field in itself, once you step in it, you're nothing but a food source. It's like we talk about personal, and a lot of people have known about this, and there is a widely know such a thing as narcissistic abuse and narcissists, right? So when you truly understand and you go through that experience and then you live through it, you heal through it, right? And then you come through that process of healing where it's like grief because part of you has to die. Then you come to realization that the only thing that you were to that individual is the narcissistic food source or energetic food source. Because like I talked about last time, these are the people that are running on the anti-force or anti-life. Hi, Conferius. Hello, Angela. So, what happens right now in the end time, and this is what I say, clarity. So those that don't have the energy or do not self-generate reality, right? And those are that with those distorted or degraded genetics here. Yes. Conferius, he's one of them. He's one of them. All right. So I want to talk about kind of how to sort of dance in the eye of the storm through this right now, because what is happening, this is basically a 5D that's going to hit both sort of both timelines that I talk about. And so there is just going to be a different result when you're on your individual path than what you will start seeing in the collective. And this is what I want to focus. So you will gaining, as I've been talking about this, you've been gaining this clarity on who is who, what is what. There's no tricksters anymore. Tricksters have run out of their tricks because you're on your inner journey. And this is why it takes inner journey to meet your eternal self, to find your eternal self. And this is even, biblical. Hello, Babylon falling is falling. It had to happen. It had to happen. So what happens is that individual power rise, and then the individuals in the collective then rise. And this is your phoenix rising on the collective. And so what happens is, this is how you recognize yourself in that. And this is why, and this is, you understand that if you are taking the path, like I said, of organic timeline of return to self and return to life, right? Or return to as within, so without, or as many people so accept, so want to exist in this fifth dimensional reality, right? So everything's becoming very clear. And so, but at the same time, right, we see exactly what each then individual is based on, or we see the foundation or the structure that a human being is individually standing on in the collective. And this is why it is so much easier. And this is why I want to talk about this, because this is what I see. This clarity is just so, it's like sparkles go everywhere. And it's like fireworks that lighting up the sky. This is just kind of that 100 monkey effect sort of in the processes. And this is what I am observing, that this clarity or this individual, once an individual gains this clarity and the strength, this is when they're unstoppable, unbreakable. You can say this is where they put an armor of God, if you want to go biblical on. So this is kind of like all of those things, right? This is the warrior, knowing, always not in control, always, as within, so without. So this is kind of, it's like 5D reality. Here we go. But when we all, you guys, when we all these predictions, all these prophecies that talk about end times, which ones do you guys, I mean, is there one, if you guys can like let me know, which one do you think, like prophecy about end times, which one is the most like known? Which ones do you like, you guys? Which ones are you still remembering? The end time prophecies. If you can put it in the comments, that would be great, because then I can kind of, we can talk it through together, because it really is the 666, the beast, Diane. Okay. That's an interesting, right? Okay. Very interesting. Rapture and Native American. You mean, Teresa, but Native American, you mean what prophecy? They have a few. There's a few. Mark of the Beast. Okay. That's a good one. Okay, Diane. Thank you. Thank you. So Mark of the Beast. Apocalypse. Okay. So perfect, Diane. Thank you. Here's your gatekeeper and vaccines. There you go. Here's your mark of the beast. That's what it is. It's in short, but in a way, this is what it is. It is that final thing that ship, because this is what the thing is, you guys, right now. And I want to talk a little bit about what's been planned for end of times, right? And how the plan unfolded. And because one timeline line is dying, the other one is birthing, and and so human consciousness is going through this rebirth process. Um, and so what happens is this is what's happening, and I've talked about this from the maybe it was 2015, but I talk about why all of this Club Idiots assembly and all of that are really that agenda. That what's at the core of that agenda is that genetic manipulation of human DNA. For what purposes? So then there is a physical body that they want to create that can host the entities. Those entities they're from the pit of death. um, so this is kind of like what I talk about is piggybacking, but and when I decoded what was that blue avians was all about, that it was about terraforming our bodies. Absolutely, Sandra. And this is what goes all the way agenda to what to chemtrails, right? So the chemtrails is part of that. So think of it this way, right? It's like, think of it, the chemtrails, they're particles, right? And so what has to go into your body, something has to go into your body, so then you can be remote controlled as the human being, right? So that's why they have to do vaccine chipping, right? Santo. It is chipping in a way, but it's kind of like a nanotech. And what happened is, and the reason is our favorite gatekeepers that wants to spread this, okay? This is why this whole thing, and like I told you, maybe 2-3 journals, guys, ago, um, I said that pharma is holding America hostage right now. Okay, now you guys, it's only been what, a week, maybe 2 weeks since I told you that. Now you can see more what's happening with that. It truly is the case. So you guys have to see it. It's still the case, but anyway. So I got off the track with that. So terraforming, for what purposes? They were always terraforming from up. That's why many of those things that spray stuff up there come from underground facilities. Yes, Teresa, that's my favorite gatekeeper right now. He is absolutely out there screaming that we all need this, right? God forbid there's a cure for $10 for that. Oh, shit. So here comes your fear factory workers that have to go out there and scare everybody to freaking death so they run and get that vaccine. Because if you're not afraid, you ain't gonna go for vaccine, right? So here's why the fear. Yeah, people say, well, why can't you, Lily, leave those fear factory people alone, let them work for it? Because this is why ultimately what they're doing, because their ultimate goal is not that, it's nothing personal, is that they're serving an extremely evil agenda. So when you get to the point, like I said, when you get to the point to where you operate on this eternal self is in this reality still in charge, when you trust yourself enough, if when you trust yourself, your eternal self, oh, you're not going to worry about any of this rats and how they feel, because what they project in the collective, and this is why I say it's so important, and this is why I do this, because and this is why I report back to you that what I see as I see this fireworks is I say, because you in silence project joy, your joy, and your joy is reflected in that totality, and this is what shamans do. And so then I will show you what the anti-life force wants to do. Anti-life force wants to keep everyone in fear, because without that fear, how will they take over our bodies? This is originally what I said in 2015 on that AI symposium. In August of 2015, I talk about that this is the ultimate agenda, is for the entities to take our bodies over. Total takeover of humanity. And this is the agenda, and this is the agenda that our gatekeepers are going with. And it's not to say that it wasn't, people are still like, oh my God, he's doing that. Is any of you, my dear shamans, are surprised that he's offering that agenda? Absolutely, Sandra. Subconscious acceptance, because there is something happens in the fear, and so a human being drops into its reptilian brain only, and that's where they get you. And then subconsciously you accept. Yep, absolutely. And so not surprised at all. Nobody's surprised at all. So of course, this is what it is. In one form or another, they'll try and try and try. Okay, and it's just common sense for people. And so when you go through this, then you go and you understand that everything is, and even approaching any sort of viruses, when it's all just started talking about this. But I know it's multi-layer thing, you guys, and there is more to it, to this viruses and all of that. But at the same time, aren't you seeing now what is happening, and how we're truly right now, humanity is being held hostage by pharma. This is what they want to do to us. And he is out there freely talking about it. Right? And so if that's not more in your face, if people can't see that, what will they see? They'll never see. People that go and get that, there's no help them. I can't help them. There is no help. Let them go get that. It's just that you can't help that individual. They're already gone. Pharma jail, yeah. We're in pharma jail right now. So people, you're not sitting at home because you're in pharma jail right now. We're being held hostage. The whole world. How many countries? 182 countries are being held hostage right now on Earth by freaking pharma and that agenda of taking us over. Okay? And so this is what I talk about, that those that work Fear Factory, they're pretty much obvious. So, I mean, you got to be blind, completely blind, not to see. And this is why I guess there's a saying, in a blind world, one-eyed man is a king. And there you go. That one eye society. Blind world. Fools, 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 fools. You will never be free unless you work for the benefit of freeing humanity. That's the only way out. so um so basically, but this has to do because you guys know back in 2017, and I've talked about 2018 prophecy. For 2018, my prophecy, I talk about what had happened with the googly guy, god. They've registered with the government, googly god, and they had that, and so that was that mark. So that was it. That was basically because, like I said, remember I told you they were going to do that under the religion thing, because it's a god program, so it had to be under the religion. So it plays under the religion cover, sort of. Okay, so everything is covered under the religion because that's the only loophole that nobody's looking under, right? And those that you trust in those institutions are the worst because they're the anti-Christ. um, Hi, helpful troll. Hi, Jeff. Hi, Rob. Hi, she said it. So basically, but you have to have your own eyes, like Jesus said in that time. You have to have the eyes to see. If you're in a blind world, then you're gonna go around and show that one eye, but you're special. You're special. You're very special in the blind world. Can't see anything, can't see into it's just inaccessible. There's realities that are inaccessible to certain individuals. Okay, so I get verbally abused just talking against that foul man. Yeah, religion tax free. She said it's not so much that it's tax free. Yeah, they can. It's just a cover. It's a cover, and the devil did it. Hiding in the plain sight, right under the mask of good for your soul stuff. They do experiments, then they're able, whoever belongs to them, then they then consider, because religion gives them the right, and this is what it has to go back to, that agreement in Rome. And so this is why it has to do with Babylon, and why some people call Vatican a Babylon. And so this is what I'm telling you, that's when that falls, this is the Babylon is fallen. Vatican. Okay, this is what we're talking about, because this is what controls this. This is what we're talking about, the spiritual contract, a contract on the collective soul of humanity. And that's, here comes all of those agreements, and then here comes your would I say that it's a huge crime against children here in America, because America is protected by Constitution, and this was originally why, and why the founders of America, what they ran from. Nobody really talks about that, because and so what they ran from, and so when they came here and when they set up the way they set up Constitution, is to protect what? Souls. And so the Babylon has the contract on the souls. And so, and this is what they uphold, that contract, right? But we, the people, right, Sandra? We, the people, are free. This is the land of the free, the only. And this is what, because of the Constitution, but not to say that it didn't got invaded from within, right? Because they wouldn't be, they've done it in Russia. They've invaded from within. Same thing, they've done it here. So see what I'm saying, and this is what I'm saying. But this, we're talking about the freedom of the soul expression, meaning a freedom for the human being, and this is what gives the freedom. That's that soul, uh, the God-given spirit. That's the living soul. So that's kind of like, this is why the Almighty God is Almighty One, meaning this living spirit. That soul belongs to the living spirit, that nobody can have contract on, because the freedom um of expression here in this reality. And so the end times are exactly that, is for that. So what they did is, under the freedom of religion here, because of that, because you have the freedom of soul expression, meaning you can have as many religions as many people, because you have a free, in each individual soul is free. And so then, so how do you do it? Then you put the anti-life force over it, and here comes your religion, meaning I'm your middleman and everyone belongs to me, only, only this and that. And this is where it comes, that uh, the collective, how do they get, because it's a vampiric nature, then it's vampiric form. But like in the movies, it's true, like in the movies, right? They tell you that vampire, you gotta allow it in. Hi, Natasha. You have to allow it in, like a vampire, okay? And so just like they do it with the religion, right? And once you believe it and accept that someone else, like I talk about, once you accept, it doesn't matter what religion, it doesn't matter what religion or who or what, it doesn't matter. As soon as you're given your individual power, and you're not calling the power from within, or not calling the Christ from within, or, then and you calling from external forces to elevate to do your your work for you, then you're not, your soul is enslaved. And this is how it is. You believed it, and you now said, okay, I now give my consent to this sort of energy to be here present with me and be in my reality. This is basically what it is. And so, hi, Jose. So anyway, so what I want to talk about is under the religious thing, and then they can, and here comes your pharma, and then they can, and most of those things that have to do with the invasion, then if you sign your thing with that, you give your consent to a doctor to to go ahead and enslave your soul. You don't know that, you're just gonna say, okay, give me a vaccine, and you're going to sign that consent, and there you go, they take you over, and they're going to do it under the religious thing. And this is why they had to create that AI god and register it, because then it's all becomes about your value, because there's that's still going to operate on master slave. So that's basically enslavement, immediate enslavement, basically. And that's it. So anyway, that's your mark, basically. That's what it is. And so they want to do it that way, and so it's techno spirituality, and this is all what's been sort of projected at humanity for all this time. And this is all that actually alien agenda is all about here. It is I wouldn't say all 100%, but I would say again about 95% of UFO disclosure out there is all controlled opposition, all manipulated, all used against humanity. Because, like I said, what happened here, again, talking about this, and this is why I bring up so much in America, the Eisenhower betrayal. Because the Eisenhower betrayal is what give the ability for the religion of Satanists to operate, basically, because that was part of the agreement that it was presented to humanity or to Americans, or there was rumors, right? Controlled opposition said it was agreement with aliens. Well, in a way it is, but it was an agreement for all these experiments that are happening underground. But we're going to call them aliens, but they're used to keep humanity in fear, because like you guys know, and many of you know, that in that they were going to use that alien card. They've been prepping humanity and scaring humanity for so long with that. So of course, but right now everything, whatever they do, is just kind of goes space dust in itself. So whenever they try, what happens is it just turns on itself and it implodes. I don't even, this is we're gonna see so much more of the attempts. But this is sort of where I kind of wanted to go, is to go into this, to where the good news, all of that seems to be like a huge thing that's gonna somehow, just, I don't know how it might manifest, but what we'll see a lot of the thing is like, seems like things are going to be so bad, but then somehow it's like fire is going to go and then it's just dust, and it's just dust. So I see a lot of things dusting, space dusting of that, because I think you guys don't need me to tell you that it seems like our my favorite gatekeeper out there, that trying to install this alien technology into us, that then will just control us fully, is yeah, that's Sasha Stone, another Fear Factory worker, and worse than that, participates in crimes too. So but anyway, what I was where was I saying? Oh yeah, so to keep that going, so they can control it. And so, as you can see, it's kind of right now, it's not working out, because do you see big lines even going for testing? Not even big lines for testing. I haven't seen videos with huge lines, have you? So it's backfiring. Absolutely, Linda. Hi, and thanks for joining. It's backfiring big time. And so what I see, kind of, it's like more of that. It's gonna turn inside out on them. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know how else to explain it, you guys, but you'll understand. And so yeah. Okay, Deanne, you ask, is the name Yahweh another name for AI God? Yes. Yes. Yes, that's the God that they talk about. You guys know, in that Pale Horse book, and that Zionist, whatever, that thing that they create, this secret societies and stuff. So that's all in there. So yeah, that's the Yahweh thing. um or L is another, that's AI. L is too, it's more like AI, so it's also has name L. um she said it, you said notice no chemtrails last 2-3 weeks. Me too, absolutely, just stunning. The sky has been stunning last week. Just been, I haven't seen it like this. I don't even remember. I remember right in childhood. Because when I looked the other day and I looked and I looked, and all of a sudden I remember my childhood. So it must have been back then. Okay, so there was another. Okay, let me go back. You guys have forgot about. Okay, so there was another one. You guys were talking about Queen Pope. Yeah, Santo, Queen and Pope hold contracts. So Queen, because of the money, so she money thing, and Pope is the soul energy, and so that's why um when you invert that and you make your slaves ask you to harm you, when you train your slaves to harm you, well, you train them, um, uh, you train them to give you freely what you need, right? So, like when I talk about why is it in Catholic Church, why do they pretend that to drink wine, and it's very drink blood? Why do they pretend to drink blood and eat flesh? Right? Because that's what they've been trained to ask for. So that continues in this reality. So the slaves are being trained to ask for it's like and the reason why I told you guys to watch Django and to watch that horrific character, so you can understand the kind of contracts, I guess, these people hold, and the kind of things that they have to do, and the kind of contracts they have with this anti-life force and things like that, and to keep humanity enslaved like that, and what they have to do to exhort that misery, because that's, to them, they need to keep the slave in the misery field. Okay, there is no happiness or joy or anything. That individual does not operate on those things. There's only those things that have to be, you know, all of that. And so, and then so here comes your, and so, but what lies underneath all of that is the real thing is happening day in, day out. And and all of those things and all of those rituals and all of those things has been happening, just like Jesus said 2,000 years ago, that the Antichrist is already here. And so it's not like they haven't been doing this here. So what was the other prophecies you guys wanted to talk to me? So there you go. But it's just like it says in the Bible, and it just like says in many prophecies that, separating, there is going to be those that will not make it and they will go space dust, and that's just what it is. And because we're not going to be this kind of non-human behavior is unacceptable in the new timeline. And this is why I say The only thing that this energy can do is attempt to piggyback. But once a human being realizes their own power, you know, it's a parasite. Once you know you have a parasite, then you can do something about it. And that's just as simple as that. But I wanted to see if go back and see if you guys had any other. I don't know. I'm lost. Vaccines. Okay. Oh, white buffalo, Teresa. I really am not sure about that. And the same with Hopi. There's a lot of different I'm not really sure which one's which. I don't keep track. But there is the one thing that the white buffalo and that in the one thing that I always sort of, let's just say, that I keep in the back of my mind are the Turtle Island, which is America's. And so that one about when Americas come together, this is going to be a huge mark. But the apocalypse, Sandra, so I don't know if it's a Hopi and what really the white buffalo is all about, but this is the tribe of Earth, the living people of Earth. Those are that's when I talk about when you go and realize that you're a living human being, and like natives, the spirit, the great spirit. And so when you and that with that living spirit and when you respect it within, and so then the markers for the collective, and this is why all these people are waiting and supposed to wait for prophecies and see the signs, and how many times we talk about the end times signs, and this is white buffalo, right? It's about end times. Resurrection. Okay, Hopi prophecy, resurrection, apocalypse, rapture. Okay, so the rapture thing. mm, I don't know how to even approach it. Um, because isn't that sort of in a way? It's not gonna, because this is in a way it happens on an individual level. Um, and maybe it will happen in the mass. But the rapture point, if you look at that, what it is, it's that what I talked about last time, you guys. It's the point of meeting your eternal self. It's recognizing that there is no such a thing as death. And that's sort of ultimate liberation. And this is what sort of the rapture. And so when that happens, maybe there is going to be, like I said, maybe there is going to be such a thing or such a point where a collective or a part of collective um, will have it all at sort of at the same time, right? And this is sort of that would also maybe in the Bible, those who are familiar with Bible, you guys might say, is the passing through the eye of the needle. It's like, it's that sort of recognition and all of that. So this is the rapture, so to speak, that happens on the individual level. But I don't know, we might see it happen, on a collective level. Who knows? There's a lot of fireworks out there in our future timeline. So it's just there's so much sort of renewed um, beautiful things that maybe we've forgotten will return in a way that will, sort of unite us in the clarity. And I think feel that a lot of that will be very sort of like tribal, maybe in a way. It's this is where comes our tribal prophecies. And so and the signs and how they explain, like my grandparents, like my gypsy grandma, even though I didn't have that much time with her, she died when I was 11. So I was just a girl, um, you know, uh, very young. I didn't really, but she told me a lot of stories and a lot of things of sort of kind of like short, weird stories that I didn't understand until much, much later in life. And, and I meant really what it meant. It's just incredible, the wisdom that she passed on. But so the way I see, there is more of that might happen, that's going to be this sort of return, because it's like a return. So the way always in religious is like people will be taken, but because the religion is mirrored, right? And so that's why I say, because duality, and so that's why this system works that way. It's just, it is what it is. And so because it's mirrored, then maybe, and this is the recognition within. And this is when, like I say, that the rapture maybe is what that, when you recognize that you are an eternal being. And so that's your own sort of, that's the moment. That's that. I mean, it is, in fact, is a magical moment, you guys. It is. It's that, it's like amazing to experience that in your physical form. Okay. So that's that. I think about the rapture. What do you guys think? My point of view, that I'm always looking from this living creator being, never disconnected from God's source, always spirit, the spirit of um all that it is, or whatever, access to all. We have access to all. Okay, you guys, talk about the religions are controlled matrix of deep state. Absolutely, absolutely. And a lot of them are not just control. They do a lot more than that under the religious. Like I said, there's so much going on, and that they kind of hide right in front of your face. So a lot of um, satanic organizations will have, you know. names and things like that, and they'll have you know um, passages from Bible on their walls. As soon as you enter their building, you can see passages on the from Bible on the walls and stuff like that, and things like that. And they go to church and stuff like that, but then so it's just, you have to have the ears to hear and the eyes to see. And so I know you guys are. And so I'm going to go to the end. I think I've tried to attempted to answer your questions or go into some of those predictions. But any other ones, you guys? Let me see if you posted anything. Okay, OG. You said 5G. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, because that 5G, there's satellites, right, for 5G. And then I've talked about then in your body, you have to have a receiver. And this is where the gatekeeper come in with the vaccine to put a receiver for those frequency. And then there is also the other part to that 5G. So you got to have a receiver. Then they have to have it also for all the computers. And then you have to have it too. And so they put those receivers for the computers, right, on the outside, but you as individual are going to get that one too. So everybody's connected to the same network. This is pretty much how it works. To that through satellites can be controlled. So all the computers and everything that has a computer can be controlled, and each human being can be controlled, remote controlled. So this is basically what 5G was initially um, designed for. And so this is why they keep pushing this forward. And even though you guys know that, those of you that know the plan, the deep state plan, those of you that research it and know what they've been planning, and you've been following and trying to connect the dots, and researching what the plan is, what the real plan was, because like I said, when you do research, you got to know your enemy. So when you know your enemy and you know what the plan was, right, with 5G, so then, so this was the attempt. But for that to happen, or for this to happen to now, for all of humanity to receive those receivers, right? It's not enough just to put it out there for the computers. Yes, it creates a lot of hazardous sort of, well, it's radiation, right? So imagine that going into your body. It's going to give you radiation. Okay. So, once you get it, whatever's on external, it won't bother you anymore because you'll be dying yourself. So this is where they were going. But this is what I'm saying. For those of you that really know the enemy, how you will know that that the Babylon is falling, because for that to succeed, everybody have to be vaccinated. How are they going to vaccinate us against our will? Well, they had in plan to take all the guns away here in America. They're planning to do exactly what they did in Russia. And this is why I've been talking about this for years, because I could see where this was going. Because I know the history and I lived through that, knowing what's going on there. And so this is why it's kind of, this is the 5G is the real pandemic. You're right. And so this is why, and again, this is why the Space Force is part of that also, to change that. Okay. Be true. You said a lot of people in UK are very aware. Yeah, people are waking up everywhere. It's amazing, and this is what I talk about: the absolutely beautiful process of this living field that is. It's there. It's operational. All those people. It's just like spring. You know it's coming, and you know the grass is coming. You can smell it. You can almost feel it, coming. So and that's what in and so yes, Sydney, you said Canada. Yeah, Canada, he said, things will go back to normal. Will we all get vaccinated? Yeah, that's their normal. Like I said, predatory consciousness is only knows itself, how to protect itself, and that's normal for them. That's what they want. No, ain't gonna happen. I don't think Canadians are gonna agree to that. So, yes, Sandra, human becoming online. And this is that self, and trusting yourself, and trusting your own intelligence, and trusting that you are where you need to be. This is what it is. It's always, you guys, I always there talk about, once you have and you truly recognize yourself as eternal being, that there is that you also recognize that there is no death. and you are eternal. And so there is no end times per se for you, even though you may meet your death tomorrow or today or a year from now or 20 years from now, you know. But once you get to the point of eternity, it wouldn't matter to you because you will trust yourself that it will keep you here for as long as you, eternal you, need to be here in this body, in this reality. And so this is how sort of, and this is a Good Friday too, and a lot of people are going to be celebrating. And Gia, it will be eventually. I don't know if it is yet, but it will be. We all will be. We all will be. And that's the future we collectively will create. We are already, and this is what I'm reporting on. It's freedom for all humanity. Um, let's just say that it's unacceptable. There is no in a future timeline. There is no vampirism of any sort, not 1 inch in. There is nothing's going to piggyback into our future. And so this is why we're standing strong. So, and today is Good Friday, so I wanted to end this it will be eventually. Just stay focused and stay focused on that bright future, you guys, because and stay focused on your eternity, and then just allow, because like I said, there's a lot of things that will come up, but a lot of things will space dust very quickly. And I can feel it, because the transformation, and like I said, that the little seed and the little green bud that comes out of that seed, it pushes through the hardest part. It has to push through the soil, through the very dense soil to come out. And this is kind of where I feel like on a collective level, and this is why you're absolutely right, son, to challenge. A lot of other people saying the same thing. Yeah, because like I said, they can say, but do they live it? Do they live it? Do they live that truth? Do they give that eternal freedom to others? Or they still talk about it just so they can parasite people because they give them something they want to hear. You know what I mean? So, but for us, for those of us that only own or fully operating our own realities, meaning 360 degrees, standing in the eye of the storm and standing in eternity, painting time. That's wonderful. So this is Good Friday, you guys. So it is, so think of it as this rebirth, sort of a resurrection. You guys talk about resurrection, and so this is, again, you can put that into that this is that resurrection into your eternal self, to mirror into life. And so now you trust your eternal self, and this is how you are present in the now moment, that you are alive. So come Sunday, this is when the world will be celebrating life, returning of the life force. And so this is what, in a way, we go in the winter, and we rebirth as new, right here in even our physical bodies. And so now this is kind of, in a way, that process. So just trust. And now, like I said, that little seed, trust itself that it will become that luscious tree, but it starts and it trusts itself that it will be. So it pushes through that soil. So push through it, and then when you hit the sun, when you hit the sun, celebrate. And this is when, the joy returns. And so, happy Easter to each and every one of you that's coming up. So may the joy of life return to you, each and every one of you, my dear shamans, with abundance, with universal abundance. May the joy return to you this spring. I love you guys so much. And let's celebrate spring, and let's celebrate love, and let's celebrate life. And it's just beautiful. The future is beautiful. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. You're eternal beings. Until next time, stay wild. Bye, everybody. Happy Easter. Happy Easter. Happy Easter.